Hello, welcome to day 49 on the CDT. It's a bit breezy, so hopefully the audio comes through okay. I think I'll keep it close to my face to make sure that the microphone picks me up. A few things I can show you. I'm actually on what's known as Snowy Mesa. And so if you are not familiar with the Colorado Trail or CDT markers, the top one is the Colorado Trail, the bottom one is the Continental Divide Trail. You can see there's mountains in the background. The mesa is aptly named. It's flat, and you can see forever in many directions. So I did not intend to camp up here because the last 3 nights I've had windy conditions for camping, and last night was the worst. I think in the video yesterday I had hoped that the wind was going to die down, and it did not. It did the opposite. It ramped up, and even though my tent was against a kind of like an overhang, preventing the winds from the west from hitting me, they just came around and over that overhang and hit my tent hard. I don't think I'd have to remember the last time my tent's been hit that hard with that strong a wind. So tonight I'm hoping that these winds do die down on the mesa, and they're coming from, they seem to be coming from the north, so I'm not quite sure what's going on there, but hopefully they do die down. I was intending to camp in the forest that was just below the mesa, and then climb up the mesa tomorrow, but I got swarmed basically by mosquitoes, and there are mosquitoes up here as well. The wind's keeping them down a bit, but if you see me suddenly look around and start swatting, it's because of mosquitoes. But it's not as bad as down there. It's funny because when you hike, you have to keep your mind occupied. And some people will play music for a little bit. Some people will, hike with other people and talk with them. But eventually everyone finds themselves alone on the CDT or any long distance hike. Even if you're hiking with somebody and somebody has to stop and use the bathroom, you're going to be separated by 10 minutes for half an hour or whatever until someone else stops. So I asked myself the question as I was hiking today, and it's kind of ironic that it happened tonight. Would I rather camp with wind, like heavy wind, or would I rather camp with mosquitoes? And I believe it was the Dalai Lama. I'm gonna have to really paraphrase this, but I believe he had been asked a question about impact, or small movements, or small things making impacts, and I think his reply was something along the lines of, have you ever tried to sleep in a tent with a mosquito, or in a room with a mosquito, or something along those lines? And I think anyone who has can immediately is like, oh man, the mosquito is horrible, like you can't get any sleep or anything. It's like having a mosquito in the car, right? Any small space. So I was puzzled because, like, the last 3 nights I have not slept well because of the high winds. But mosquitoes, man, as soon as I hit that swarm down there, I was like, oh, I got to get out of here. And I came up to the mesa, and immediately I got hit with some winds, and as you can see by the quaff, and I think I would rather take winds than mosquitoes. Y'all can think about that and come up with your own answers. And if you want to text me, go ahead. But I'm hoping that tonight the wind will die down and I can get a good night's sleep. I'm actually on a fairly flat surface for the first time in a few nights as well. So I'm hoping for a good night's sleep. Sorry, I got a little bit of runny nose because of the wind. It's a bit chilly. I had a pretty good hiking day. Actually, I had a strong hiking day. I was able to click in 20 miles between 6:30 and 5 o'clock. And because I got up here on the mesa at 5 o'clock. And so that is just, 10 and a half hours? Am I doing the math right? 11 would be, yes, I think I did the math right on that. So That's including a break for lunch and a break to filter water and a break to make a hotel reservation in Creed, because their season's kicking in, and so I got word from another hiker that their hotels were filling up fast. So I got some service. We actually hit the high mark on the Colorado Trail today. I think I mentioned it yesterday. I was a bit off. I think it's 13,270 feet. And so just after that, I actually got some service and took a break to do some research and called ahead and made a reservation so I have a hotel. I don't think I would have been worried if it was like a Tuesday or Wednesday night, but the fact that I'm coming into Creed, not tomorrow, Thursday, but on Friday, and trying to get a hotel night Friday night and Saturday night, I don't think I could have just walked into town and got one. So I'm glad I was able to get some service. So we had a lot of up today. We meaning hikers in general. There was one hiker that was hiking near me. She hopped a hitched a ride, I should say, into Lake City. So she's in town tonight. But it was, we went to the high point on the Colorado Trail, like I said, and then we kind of did one of those ups and downs above and under 13,000 feet for a little bit, and then we dropped and then went back up, and I can't remember if it was like 700, 800 feet, that drop. I think we did another one, and then we did a huge drop down to 10.8 to the pass, and I can't remember, I think it's Spring Creek Pass, I believe. It's highway, I think 149, that goes into Lake City and Creed. And then from 10.8, I came back up to 12.2 here to the Snowy Mesa. So it was a lot of up and down, but I'm good on the up. I love ascending. I detest descending, especially if it's a rocky trail, because of the potential to roll my ankles, so I'm slow on the descent. But we had a lot of flat today, which we haven't had a lot of in Colorado, or it was like a gradual up, which I love. I can really put in some miles on those. So it's important when you're doing a through hike, you know your strengths, and when you're looking at the next day of like, okay, up, down, gradual up, gradual down, whatever it is, you can kind of gauge how far you think you can go. And I went a lot faster today than I expected. Getting into camp at 5 is great. I actually brought some extra water with me, so I was able to clean off my legs, my calves especially, since they're the ones who get really dirty, dusty from the hiking. I was also able to wash out my beard and my mustache, which is great, and I'll put some lotion or cream, whatever it is I have in there, as well as on my calves, just to make sure that that everything's happy, and I'll check for infections, that kind of stuff. So one sad thing about today, we're still hiking the trail that is both the Continental Divide Trail and the Colorado Trail, and the forest that's just below Snowy Mesa. I distinctly remember in 2019 when I hiked the Colorado Trail, a friend, Jenica, came out and hiked a couple of days with me on the trail, and we got stuck. I've only been stuck high twice in a lightning storm where I was concerned for safety. One was on Snowy Mesa. There was just a nasty thunderstorm that rolled in and hit Jenica and I when we were on Snowy Mesa. And the second one was on, I think I was hiking Tabawash, and I was with my friend Karen and Beauregard, and it was a bluebird day, and then suddenly within, I don't know, it was like 35 minutes, the clouds grouped together, formed a thunderstorm, and we were trying as quickly as possible to get off that saddle and get down into the drainage, but a piece of lightning struck the Tarn Lake that was below us, that was in the drainage we were trying to get to, and then a piece of lightning hit the 13er, I think it was a 13er or a tall 12,000 foot peak over to the right of the saddle, and I think, if I remember correctly, I want to say a second piece of lightning hit the Tarn Lake, and like we were throwing our trekking poles out of our hands. Like those are the only two times I've been caught high up in thunderstorms. And those two instances were, I believe, like 9 years apart. Maybe it was 8 years, something like that. And there's a reason why they're that far apart, because you remember those things. One of the pictures that I selected as one of my favorites from the 2009 Colorado Trail hike was after Jenica and I sprinted off Snowy Mesa. We dropped down into this drainage and we dropped down into the forest that's just below here. And after the storm was over, I have a picture of like one of the most beautiful sunsets that I've ever seen, where the clouds parted and blew up the sky and the clouds with color, and it was just absolutely beautiful. And that camp where I took that photo, sorry, the mosquitoes are coming in because the wind kind of died down. The camp where I took that photo was in the forest right below Snowy Mesa. My heart was wrenched today. The pine beetles have killed the entire forest. You can see where there's like some growth that has come back and some aspen are growing. But like all of the old, like tall pine trees, they're all dead pole. They've all been killed by the pine beetle. And it was really sad. And I remember that forest being a lush green, healthy forest when we hiked in 2009, and it was a sanctuary forest from a storm. And now if I was on Snowy Mesa and a thunderstorm came in and I needed a sanctuary, I couldn't go to that forest because the dead pole and the wind dead pole is basically just a tree that's dead that's still standing. And there's so many of them that a wind could blow them over and hit you and harm you or kill you. So there's so much dead wood, dead trees down in the forest that there would be no sanctuary. Like we'd have to drop into a drainage and just sit in the drainage. We couldn't go into the forest. And it was just a really sad moment. Happy moments are, hiking the Colorado Trail again, or portions of it, and saying to myself, oh yeah, hey, I remember this. Or hey, they rerouted this a little bit, or I don't remember this part at all. It's fun kind of going down memory lane and rehiking the Colorado Trail. It is different hiking northbound on the trail because I'm fairly certain that the Colorado Trail is made as a southbound trail. I'm sure some people would disagree and say you can do it either way, and of course you can, but when they design trails, I think they usually design them with directions in mind. Like, for example, the Continental Divide Trail, I believe, was originally designed as a southbound trail. So you were supposed to start in Canada like mid-June. You get through that snow, you get through Wyoming before any fires, early in the season when it's still wet down there. You get through Colorado when the snow's melted off, and then you hit New Mexico after the monsoon, so there's water available after the monsoon. So I think originally that's how the CDT was designed, was a southbound trail. So anywhoozy, it was fun reminiscing, hiking the Colorado Trail and remembering some parts of it. And some parts I remember fondly, some parts it's like, oh hey, I camped right over there. Oh hey, I camped right over there about 12,000 feet and it rained on me and it got below freezing overnight and my rain fly was frozen shut the next morning because of the rain freezing on my rain fly. So like those types of things you can you remember, and it's like, oh, that's a great memory. But the forest just completely dead, just below Snowy Pass or Snowy Mesa just got me. It got me because it was a sanctuary from that storm, and it's not like it's gonna be. It'll be 10 plus years before it's a sanctuary again. For all the dead trees to fall over and for the new growth to be mature enough where the trees are tall enough to offer a place where lightning and stuff goes instead of hitting people or tents or whatever. Anybody who doesn't know the pine beetle, you can look it up. I think there's 2 different types of pine beetles. They attack different types of trees. I'm not going to get into it here because we can start a climate change argument, and I don't want to do that. So if you're interested in the pine beetle and why it's killing trees, go ahead. You can look it up, and it's happening in Colorado and Wyoming and several states. So I won't go into detail, but you can look it up. Today's call out is just to positive memories. I think a lot of times I will, get out of here. Jeez, these mosquitoes are brazen as soon as the wind dies down. My shout out today is to memories. A lot of times in my head, I will remember negative things that happened, and I'll be like, oh, why did I do that? And I think a lot of introverts and certain type of personality character folks do that. They remember, those memories, and you can't go back and change them. You absolutely can't go back and change them. You're like, I should have done this. And so I've been trying really hard to acknowledge the memory and then try to let it go so it doesn't come back. But our brains are, jigsaw puzzles unless you're meditating every day to try to, or some type of practice to try to organize them. But hiking the Colorado Trail today was a very positive memory. I got to remember a lot of things, and it was my first through hike. So the shout out today is to positive memories and those making you feel good. The forest underneath Snowy Pass didn't, but the other ones did, and that was great. So okay, we ran a bit long. My dinner setting. It's 7:28, and I've got everything finished. I've washed my legs, I've stretched, I've cooked dinner, I've set up the tent, everything, filtered the water, everything's done. As soon as I eat, I can get in my tent it's 7:50 after brushing my teeth, and it's having a strong day, and getting to camp early is a great feeling, because you just have that moment where you can take a deep breath, decompress, and kind of figure out things that you've been putting off. Do I need to do that, and blah blah. Or you can go to bed early because you haven't been getting sleep for the last 3 days because of wind. So I'm going to go eat and brush my teeth and then hit the sack. So everyone have a wonderful evening. I hope the wind wasn't too bad on the audio, and I'll talk to you folks later. Bye.